Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Project S.M.A.R.T Studios Making Art and Reproduction Textiles live stream. We are here with the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club in their art room, and we are working on appliques. And we have an inspiration. We're kind of honing into our animal style. And today we're going to have some of the kids that have already completed their animals and they're ready to use some of the techniques that they've learned to finish up their applique, kind of tell us about what they've done. And then I'm going to be bringing in more information and giving you some direction if you're interested in starting this project with us. We're going to be wrapping up in May. And again, our final applique is inspired by the Bombay people of Africa. And what they do is they use an embroidery technique. They use a seed stitch, and they create these really unique animal appliques that tell the story of the fawns, which are the kings of Africa. So that's why we are using animals in this applique, and we're also using the embroidery technique because that is the technique that this specific Abame applique uses. So we're going to be working and talking. So sometimes you might hear us, we're a little quiet because we're working on our projects and getting them together. So usually because this is like an open studio setting, we'll have about 10 or 15 minutes where you'll see us kind of working, showing our art, and then it might be quiet a little bit. But we do have a chat open, so you can contact us, or we're on YouTube. You can go to the Seed to Fiber page and watch us also. If you don't have YouTube or if you're not on Facebook, but you can access the website. And I put the little blurb up there of how to get to the Seed to Fiber art room. If anyone has any questions, I'm just going to be quiet for a few minutes and see if anyone puts any questions in the chat, and we'll get started.
This is the only glue. Hi, everybody.
I hear someone coming in. Hello.
They're leaving.
So if anyone in the art room has part of their animal done and they want to come up to the camera and tell me what the animal is and talk a little bit about what you're going to do, we can do that. I'll start with what I've been working on. And so for Earth Month, I've got two appliques I'm working on. One is an iron-on, and one is one that I'm hand stitching, like the Abame applique. But the iron-on one I did was with my endangered animal, and the endangered animal I picked was the white rhino. Of course, this rhino is not white, because what I did was I fabric collaged it, because I was hoping that, problem solving, thinking that, maybe if this rhino had more color, it could kind of disguise itself, and maybe that would help it survive a little bit more in its current habitat. So I really dressed up my rhino. Now, this is an actual rhino that I took a picture of at the Sanford Zoo in Florida. They have rhinos there. Now, the rhino I took a picture of, I don't know that it was the white rhino, but what I did was I took a picture of it and then I traced it, and then I cut it out, and then I put all of these different fabrics on it. So that's what the kids at the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club have been doing. They've been fabric collaging, they've been drawing their animals. And then for our final activity, which is in May, we're going to be adding all of the textile art techniques that would make it a reproduction of something like the Abame applique. So everyone's kind of working on theirs, and we're going to wait till a few more minutes to see if we have any more questions from the live stream chat. And then we're going to have some kids come up and talk a little bit about the animals they picked, why they picked the animal, and what technique did they use? Did they use the fabric collage? Did they use the fabric painting? And then kind of tell me about what you want to do next with your applique.
Can you see her picture?
Oh, yes, I can. Let's see. Put it up there a little bit more. Kind of push it up in the screen. There you go. There you go. So
she has two.
okay, that's one. What's the other one?
What is this? A bear? Go ahead.
A bear?
This is a bear.
Let me see. Oh, that's very nice. So is that the one that you fabric painted? You used the burlap and you put some paint on there?
The one she put fabric on, but she's putting this on the burlap because she started with this.
Oh, I got it. So you're using the layering technique. What you're going to do is on a piece of paper, you did your animal, and then you're going to your bear, and then you're going to put it on the burlap. You're going to use the Mod Podge to do that, or are you going to kind of stitch it on? How are you going to put it on there?
You said stitch.
Oh, you're going to stitch it. All right. So that is really nice. Okay.
We have some people, they aren't here, but one person she painted it and then she did her glitter to start it.
She did what to start it?
She painted it first with watercolor and then she put the glitter over hers.
Oh, I see it. That is really nice. And then that's on the burlap, right?
Yes.
Okay. Are you doing one, Miss Thompson?
Yes. This is
let's see. Very nice. I like that. So what else are you gonna do with yours?
I'm going around it with the needle and thread with some yellow. So I already filled it in with the fabric and the different beads.
Uh-huh. Very nice.
Just going around.
Okay. So where I am with mine, so you guys can kind of see, I'm still working on the ears. Now this is going to be my final Abame applique, and I made something like a fox skunk. I still am trying to figure out. Someone said it kind of looked like a hyena, but part of the storytelling with the Abame appliques is they'll create two animals and make something out of it. It doesn't necessarily have to be one animal, but I thought it was a little bit easier for us just to focus on one, but to kind of bring in how some of these appliques that you'll see from the Abame people, some people say it's kind of like folkish. The style is very different. It's unique. You don't see it. So I tried to reproduce something that I thought that was kind of like it as much as possible. So my skunk stripes are like right here. And then my animal has these little fox ears. right here. I know a skunk kind of has ears like a fox, but not really. So I saw someone, and I don't know if she's there today, but I believe I wanted to make sure what kind of animal it was. I wasn't sure if it was like a giraffe or a hippo. I'm not really sure, but they used the pretzel fabric.
Which fabric?
The pretzel fabric.
She's not here today, but hers is right.
Do you know? There you go. That's the one. What do you think that is? Do you know what?
The giraffe.
It's a giraffe.
And she did her stitching with the pipe cleaner around it.
Right. Yeah, I saw that. So okay, that was my first guess was a giraffe.
And the other one that's left. She did a starfish, but she did as Patrick's star in the breast cancer symbol.
And the breast cancer symbol?
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty deep. So she did a starfish with the breast cancer symbol.
Yes.
That is very nice. That's very nice. Oh, that's gonna have an elaborate story. That's a very unique one. So the idea is that you get as creative as you want with your animals, and they are gonna tell a story. However way you want that story to be told. So I'm going to be working on my ears for a few minutes. And if anybody else has any questions that's catching in on the live stream and they're just getting on, I'm with the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club, and they are leading off the Project S.M.A.R.T activity, which is going to complete next month for us to reproduce an embalming applique. The Project S.M.A.R.T stands for Studios Making Art and Reproduction Textiles. So what we're doing is we're creating our own art, and we're taking inspiration from the textile techniques of these different cultures and different people that tell stories about civilization, about lifestyle, about things that happen within family, about all kind of things that lead into, connecting some of the pieces that we are creating in this applique that might be able to be used in the next project we do. So it could be weaving, it could be quilting, it could be nuno felting, it could be any type of fiber art technique that we are using over the course of this year.
Is that enough?
And also, I wanted to thank Miss Connie, and she was going to be a guest today, but she may meet up with us at the last activity, because she is a beader and she had her own bead studio, and she's the one who donated all of the beads that you guys have, and another person, Miss Barbara, who donated the embroidery floss. a lot of the different techniques and materials come from the Savannah Fiber Guild. And I'm part of the Fiber Guild, and what we do is we take our projects and we kind of pull them together, and sometimes someone will switch to something different that they're doing and they won't use their materials anymore. They won't need a specific material, and we'll share and trade them. So that's how I got a lot of the beads that you guys have. So what she's going to do, and if she's not able to meet at the studio with us, maybe she can do a demo like we had from Wendy and from Janet about the fabric painting and the basics of using the embroidery needle and embroidery. Is do a quick little demo on some of the stitches you can do using the beads. So if you wanted to, like I heard someone created the breast cancer sign, and if she wanted to bead that, there could be like a specific stitch or a pattern that she could use. I know you could put flowers, you can put other things around it. So for our last live stream, we'll have some of those techniques that we'll add in.
So at the back.
So did anybody find that the embroidery needles were hard to thread? Because it's almost like if you had normal thread, it's easier, but this embroidery floss is so thick. So what I found that I had to do was I had to kind of pull the embroidery floss apart a little bit, like this. And then kind of move it down, because with this you can create different little textures too, to actually get it in my needle.
If you use the needle threader, it's actually easier. You can keep all of it together.
If you use the what?
The needle threader.
You like that? You have a needle? Yeah, I put some needle threaders in there. I don't have one.
That was easier. I couldn't get it by itself.
Yes, I know it. It is a lot easier.
Yeah, the bar. Yeah, and then kind of place it on over it. So, okay. The blue right in there, in this area.
So you gotta put it like this, or we put the turn around. Okay, now next one.
Finish.
Some glue.
You gotta turn it to the wrong side.
Oh, here on this side. You keep sticking that.
Are you going to go again?
So I'm stringing 2 beads at a time to start my second ear. Is everybody pretty much cool and comfortable with what they're doing?
I'm so sorry.
Are y'all comfortable with what you're doing?
Does anybody have any questions? Because I know sometimes it's awkward for me. Did I hear yes? Someone has a question? I know that it's kind of awkward for me because stitching, sometimes it's easier to stitch with the other hand that you're not familiar or comfortable with. Just depending on what side you're working on of your applique. So sometimes being a little bit ambidextrous or kind of working outside your comfort zone when it comes to switching from one hand to the other, it might be a little bit easier.
Okay. So you'll cut that slowly and fill in the places where it's supposed to be in place.
So like I'm having to thread but pull through with my left hand, and I've got my beads in my left hand, and I've got my needle for embroidering in my right, and I'm stringing my beads 2 at a time and then dropping them.
Oh, I know what I can do.
And then to secure it, I'm securing it through the back with my left hand and using my right hand to kind of guide it. So don't let switching hands throw you off.
Okay, I think I'm done.
I didn't see ready to start stitching.
I'm not stitching them.
Or you can do a combination. That's how I did it. I started gluing some beads on and I started stitching on the side. But you still got beads and glue it.
You just keep going.
And I think when you guys get into double digit, like say if you're going from 1 beads to 2 beads, and you could sometimes cross stitch something. I don't know how much everybody knows about different embroidery techniques, but what I'm using is just basic, which is kind of like a seed stitch because it's like a straight stitch, and you can kind of go different directions with it. But you know, as you guys get in patterns.
So this is how it sounds and looks a little bit. Okay, so hold it like this. You feel the first thing. This one. This one first. And we go on. Put it up. Just start like that. And we take your hand. And then we go put it. So this down. Put it right here. Hold on. Okay. Hold this tight.
I'll play it in 2 minutes.
Okay.
I'm trying to make it.
Okay, so I just finished up my ears. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the thread for the crown of the head right here, just across, because I didn't put any beads here.
That's supposed to be.
Is anybody is anyone there working on an animal with big ears?
I got it.
Small.
Someone has an animal with big ears?
Oh. Okay, you have. You draw a bone. You said you draw a bone. Yeah, you. Oh, this is just like. You say just like. I don't want this.
Well, you can just try.
Oh, I need some.
So for anyone who is just catching the live stream or kind of wondering about why we're live streaming this, for one, this is to accommodate some of the program needs for social distancing and keeping everyone safe until we get COVID under the way. And then also this has provided us with the opportunity to reach people from all over the place who maybe they wouldn't have had a chance to kind of see what goes on in after school program art rooms. And how important it is for people to take notice at what some of these kids and artists are doing after school, as opposed to just what goes on in the classroom during school. So we are doing a lot of different things with these live streams. And you can go to the M.S.T.A.R.T Creative YouTube page and catch all our live streams from our first one back in December till now. And what each live stream does is focuses on how we built the project, how everyone came up with their own original ideas. Each kid and each adult and everyone that has participated pretty much has their own style of how they're creating this applique. We're just inspired. We're using the Abame applique as an inspiration to kind of get started. But like I said, this is all original art. So some of the artists may want to show their pieces, some of them may not. But for the most part, we have demos on what we're doing, and you can chat with us if you are looking for a specific question you need answered or a technique that you're working on that you're not sure about. And we can address that in the second hour. So the first hour, the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club is leading us because they're our community collaborator. And they're located in Savannah, Georgia. And we're hoping that we can include a Boys and Girls Club from each state so that we can have like a kind of a collaborative activity and kind of reach out and see what everybody else is doing in different places. I heard too, well, I didn't hear it, but I saw it. Are you guys doing a virtual talent show also? Do you know about that, Miss Kiana?
No, I'm not
Oh.
sure. You know, doing a virtual talent show?
We had one.
Oh, you did? When was it?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Well, we had one, but I wasn't in it though.
Oh, okay.
You want to finish that?
It was.
So now these are
You want to start saying your first?
I'm gonna hurry up.
You're going to, I go under mine first. And then I
Okay. Here you go, train.
you watch your fingers. Yes.
This one I got so yeah, it's supposed to be a candy.
Candy.
Yeah, and that's what.
Oh, candy.
Oh, and that's cookies. So I can give you candy. So how am I gonna do the face? Cause I don't wanna.
You can stitch your face.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna use stretch my face.
Yes.
Stitch.
Okay.
Okay.
So where do you start? Stitch your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hear you guys are getting ready to do the face. I stitched the nose. I stitched the nose here and I did the ears. And I was thinking about, because I painted the eyes and the mouth. I was trying to figure out what else I should do with that. But that's good. Give me some ideas of what you guys are gonna do once you get started. I'm gonna go get some scissors. I'll be right back.
Okay, this is the start. That means you'll go up to here and you're not doing anything. Cut it. Okay. You're gonna go. You're going to go. If it's. Pull it up.
I need to finish. Today is last.
Like the thing, because it's you want a straight smell or you want it to go up? Yes. I'm hoping it's like up. Bring the scissors, please. So I'm gonna look for a different eye.
Okay,
So. This way. That's the rainbow. So I'm going to put this in here. Okay. In here. Don't hold on too much glue. Filling the, you don't need that much glue. those things like.
Let's try to pick it up.
Next.
Here, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Usually have to bread. Now your noodles on. And that's easy. That's where you started from the eyes.
Almost done. Okay, so that's the order. Next, let's color our other orange. So
I'm moving on the next color too. I'm going from yellow to orange.
this is kind of like this. Okay,
So make sure you cut it. Don't put it too far. That way your mouth won't come loose. Start from and then start right where you have your food.
yeah, that was it. Oh, like this.
Pull. You just want to hit the little knot. Tie the knot in it. So you pull it out. Okay, this little diamond stone. Pull. You have to untangle the fingers.
So I just added some more information for anyone that's just checking in or been watching the live stream for a few minutes and wondering what exactly it is that we're doing. We are embroidering, and we are making our embroidery work into an applique. And the applique is inspired by the Bombay Mori. I mean, Bombay Mori. I'm thinking moth. The Abame people of Africa. I've got all kind of animals going through my head right now. And insects.
Yeah. Yeah. So we get to the legs now. So we'll go there. It's cut a little piece for the leg.
So I'm listening as you guys are talking, and I know some people are doing a couple different colors for theirs. So I picked orange, yellow, and black, and a little bit of red, and a kind of gold color. So kind of like all the orangey and yellowish colors. Does anybody have a color combination that they want to tell us at work? Did you pick your embroidery floss or your thread based on the actual color of your animal, or did you make colors up? Some of you guys made some colors up.
Cut it. Cut it to the little piece. Well, not a little. Well, I choose it because the animal was like this. So the little leg.
What do you want to do? Your nose, or you want to try to do your tongue?
Tongue.
Okay. Let me see this. You should have did the lines like this. You want the pink tongue and the pink line? So then you choose that tongue. So it's got this inner knot that will go down the bottom.
That should the leg.
Got it?
It's funny.
Close it.
Well, whatever made this
So,
I'm we should stitch the word in.
Oh no. No.
Yeah.
You got it?
No, I'm talking about like children.
Keep going. We got something fine.
Now that
Sometimes it gets tangled up and it's okay.
And I also used on the spot, on like the polka dots, I used like kind of like a cross stitch, like one side over the other. Has anyone tried to do any other stitching than just the basic? Like, have you tried to kind of play with it and see what you come up with? Say if you like crossed over, say if you went like this. I'm just going to show it on here so you can outline it. So let's see here. If you use the needle, and I'm going to do it where it's kind of backwards. You go in this way. You go up.
But you can't really see
Go
it.
this way.
Can y'all see that?
And then you go to the side of it. Right here. And then you go across. So it almost looks like something kind of like a cross stitch. But you can turn that into, if you do it that way, you can make flowers out of it. You can do, it's just kind of like starts it with little different designs you can do.
Margaret's trash. You want me to do it inside?
If you want to. You can have my young and no shirt if you want. So, very perfect.
So this kind of, it's just like an accent. Can you guys see that? Where I just had it, it was just kind of like black polka dots. And then I added my orange into it. And I did kind of like a cross stitch design. So you may be doing it so that it just goes straight across, but you guys can kind of try to come up with different ways to thread it in as well. Let's see, can everybody see that?
Go to the charger.
You see the battery? You see the escape button? At the top. Now go to the battery in the right corner. You see that mark?
Where? I don't see it.
Double phone. Come on, get the door.
Right here?
Everybody doing okay there? Does anybody have any questions? I can show you what I've done so far is I did both my ears. So I did my one ear and I did the tail the last live stream. My tail is kind of crazy. I got a conch shell and I got the peace shells, the peace sign on there, and some red beads. So I finished up the ears today, and then I accented my little my spots that are like right here. Now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the stripes right here.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to think about that. Anybody have any suggestion? Does anybody have any animals with stripes on them? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, there you go. Lost you guys for a minute.
The laptop died, sorry.
What'd you say?
Our laptop died, so I switched to the iPad.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I've been using an iPad and it worked up until just recently. Do you guys have yours on Safari? I know we have a lot more less technical difficulties than we did the last live stream.
I think I went to Google Chrome.
Uh-huh.
Google Chrome. I think that's what I did.
Can I?
Okay, you have to
Want me
cut
to cut the
yours.
short down
You have
a
a
little
knife.
bit? Want me to cut it short?
Don't cut it short. You're not gonna be able to tie the knot.
I already tried the knife.
You can cut it short.
How are you doing? What Miss Kiana, what animal is she working on?
The little, what do you call it? She calls it her candy bear.
Her candy bear. Okay, so we saw yours earlier. That's cute. Oh. Here, let me see that again. Let me see it again, Miss Kiana. Oh, very nice. It's a candy bear. Cute.
Let's get it out of the knot. There you go.
I'm gonna name mine the majestic turtle.
The majestic turtle.
What? I heard someone say they had a name for theirs. What was it? I couldn't hear it.
A majestic turtle.
A majestic turtle. Wow. That's fancy.
That's good, dude.
still have what?
Okay, she's looking
Oh,
for
she's okay. And then too, if there are some, because I know I gave you guys, I don't know if I gave you, all the colors of the beads. But if there are some other beads you want, I'll get with Miss Kiana afterwards and find out what else you guys need to finish up your project. So if there's something there that you guys don't see, let me know.
That's why it's messing up. We already.
Oh yeah, can I get that yellow thread that you said you didn't need?
So you guys are wrapping up now. We've only got a few more minutes, and I know everyone's kind of emptying out of the room now. But how many more people do you have in there?
3.
3? Okay. So we can keep working for a little bit longer.
Okay, great. Let's see what you were trying. You want to sew.
Jacob Davis to the front. Jacob Davis to the front.
So you're trying to sew in the fabric. So you need to cut the string not to be cut like in between.
Yeah.
You gotta hold it a little bit like this. Hold it twice. Then you go back. Make sure it's like this so it's not going to be in a knot. I like to put my finger in it.
So I was going to show you guys one other thing, which I haven't used because I think that the burlap is a pretty strong fabric and you can handle it. But I gave you guys these embroidery rings. And a lot of times what people will do is they will use the embroidery rings to isolate an area that they're trying to do that they might need it to be just like a little bit more sturdy. So they'll clip in the fabric into the ring. And you guys have wooden rings. So what it'll do is it'll hold it more in place. So that you can push it out and pull it in. So that's when you get to the part where you've got most of your work done and you just want to say get into one area and you need to just kind of pull it apart and straighten it. I think that's what I'm going to have to do when I get to these stripes. Bye.
Like that.
Miss Kiana, can you think of anything else that you guys need?
I think we have everything. We have enough beads and enough thread.
Okay, and do you have enough of the embroidery needles for everyone that wants to embroider?
Yes.
And threading needles?
Yes.
Okay. And then everybody's probably pretty much already, they're done with the fabric collage part. And if there's anyone that wants to come in and start on the applique, so you don't have to go back and explain it to them, just have them go through through the live streams and then pick an animal meeting up again in May. I think it's May, I want to say it's like during the week of the 20th, and I'll get that to you exactly. But that'll be our last one. But they have about, from now until then to work on it and catch up. So if there's anybody else that wants to participate and you guys have some extra materials or you need more materials, let me know.
Okay. I think this one. How's it going? Are you sewing the bead on it? Did you go through the hole? If you go through the hole of the bead, it'll make it easier. Yeah. Next time we'll do it on a t-shirt.
Oh, it's not going through. It's there now. Thanks. Wait. Dang it. I'm supposed to. I'm sorry.
Don't prick yourself. You gotta look at the
I've
needle.
hit myself 3 times. Thank you. Can you help me?
I'm trying to get through the bead.
Oh, I got through my skin. It don't hurt though.
Okay, so what I like to do is hold it down. Come back up to the side. See? It's just one shot. Go down.
I didn't want that to be like in the arm.
Then you just have to use tacky glue. Oh, goodness, you got a lot stuck in there.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I didn't even put that much in there.
Actually, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad, but
Yeah, I want to cut that too.
please don't cut me. I think we're done. It's not
Hello, we just had a little bit of a technical difficulty. My phone overheated, but we are wrapping up the first hour with the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club. If you're just catching us for the second hour, then you can go back and once this live stream is over, kind of get an idea of where we're at, what we've been doing, what techniques we've added to our applique. And some of the kids have given the concept of how their appliques tell a story, be it through symbols, through different fabrics, different elements that they've included into their project. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to step off the live stream for a few minutes. I'm going to put the information so that you can connect to the Seed to Fiber Art Room project page, and you can also meet back up with us in about 5 minutes as we finish up and answer any questions that you have. Let's see. I'll show a quick little, also this is our Earth Day, our Earth Week program. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show one of our doodles that we started on from last year. And we're going to continue to just as warm-ups. If you're just new, you're finding out what we're doing, you want to participate, but you're not really sure. So I'm going to give you a little doodle exercise, and then I'll be back after that. Okay, so that was fun. So what we're wrapping up right now is we just finished our first hour with our community collaborators, the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club, and they're located in Savannah, Georgia. And they have been working with us since our first project, S.M.A.R.T, which is Studios Making Art and Reproduction Textiles Virtual Open Studio. We started our applique activity back in December of 2020, and we are wrapping up our winter 2, which is the month of January, and spring through May. We'll be wrapping that up next month. And our inspiration is from an applique from Africa, from the S.M.A.R.T people. And what they do is they create a story about their fawns, which are kings of their kingdom, using animals. So the kids have been inspired to use animals in this applique process. And the process also includes the textile art technique, embroidery. So the kids are using, as well as adults, not always kids, because our second hour, we kind of invite everybody to join us. But our inspiration comes from the embroidery technique, which happens to be from the S.M.A.R.T people using animals to tell a story. So if you missed the first part of the live stream, some of the kids from the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club talked about the animals that they picked or that they chose, be it an endangered species, since we are celebrating Earth Week, or be it an animal that they are going to tell a story about, or an animal that symbolizes something that is very important to them. And what they've done is they're reproducing this textile, as opposed to it being a replica where it's something that is exactly like, or representational in the sense that it has the exact dimensions and details as the original applique. We're reproducing it to kind of fit a contemporary view of how these techniques were used in ancient to modern times. So embroidery has been a textile art technique that has been used in all kind of textiles, from uniforms to even baskets, to clothes, to cultural clothes, to hats. You'll see embroidery in a lot of different cultural significant celebrations, festivals, all kind of things. So the kids get an idea of that, and they're able to take the technique that they learn and apply it to how they see fit. So I will just start off by kind of talking about how we started the process and what it's kind of morphed into. What we did was we took an endangered species or our favorite animal, and we started out with fabric collage. So what the kids did was they drew an animal and they collaged it with fabric. And they did this on mixed media paper. So they had the choice to make their appliques more art, representational of art, rather than having it stitched onto clothing. And then some of them had the opportunity to layer this particular collage onto burlap. Some of the kids fabric painted. This is fabric painting. We were fortunate to have the Savannah Fiber Guild help us with pre-recorded videos to introduce the needle felting, not the needle felting, to introduce the embroidery technique using thread and needle and embroidery floss, and also the fabric painting part of putting together this applique. So there was the use of threading needles, as well as using embroidery floss, which is a little bit thicker than just your average thread itself. So the kids got to explore that, as well as everyone else participating in it. We got to kind of troubleshoot and think of different ways we could put together whatever it was we were working on. So with that, another idea we came up with was using iron-on paper, which is an applique technique we did a couple years ago with the JEA kids, the aftercare program in the Fiber Club. They made iron-on appliques. Probably why I was thinking about the needle felting is because they did needle felting and they worked with felt. So each year what we do is we pick a different program and we use a different material. We teach a different technique, so that if you missed learning about needle felting and felt one year, we might skip it, and then you can learn about what we're doing now and then apply that to what you've learned when we do needle felting again. So why we work with appliques is because you can layer appliques and you can do a lot of different things with them. We came up with studios making art and reproduction textiles as a way to introduce different art combined with textile art techniques, and to kind of talk about fiber arts and all as a way to learn, to explore, and have fun during and after school. The Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club is an after-school program, so we're fortunate to have them involved, and they've been participating for the last 3 or 4 years, as well as the JEA the previous year. And why I mention them again is because one of the things we're going to start on next year, or start back with, is our seed art. And one of the things is we have a component where we talk about foraging our materials. So everyone knows that, burlap is actually a plant, comes from a bast fiber. Cotton is a plant. Some of our materials we use come from insects. So the kids get an idea of where we're getting these materials from, and they're able to put together their projects. And one that we did was seed art, which I mentioned earlier. And last year, the kids won the 50th anniversary for Earth Day, which was the first virtual event because we had COVID, and they were announced winners by Earth Day Savannah and the mayor of Savannah. So our Earth Day week project, which we've included the Project S.M.A.R.T activities into, kind of gives us light into what we're looking to do, how we're going to reduce our carbon footprints when we're working with the fabrics and materials we work with, and then also how we're going to help the environment. So the endangered species and favorite animals was kind of a way to talk about that as a side note, but not take away from our inspiration of the S.M.A.R.T applique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a break again, see if we have any chats. I'm going to play our Environment Day doodle one more time, and then I'll take any questions or answer any comments that anyone has. Okay, so that was a little brief excerpt of our fabric painting demo. And what I'm going to do for the rest of the hour is usually we have other guests, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show the demos of some of our guests that have been on the studio to help out kind of bring everyone up to date as to how we've gotten to where we are in the applique process, some of the techniques that we've used. On our S.M.A.R.T Creative YouTube page, you can actually access the demos at your own pace and watch the live streams through to look for the details and the information that you need. And what I'm going to do is, you know, for the rest of the hour is kind of play some of the demos that I have just on hand. And hopefully anyone that's just checking in can kind of get an idea of where to go to look for the information, to find out a little bit about the project, to connect with me through social media or through email, which are an email that you can reach me at is mstarartcreative@gmail.com. You can also go to the Seed to Fiber Art Room website, which I have on this live stream, which is our host for the activities. And the demo that you just saw was prior to us working up to the point where we've added beads and we've added embroidery. So this is working towards our final project. And then also we've included in our environmental day doodle. So that's just to kind of break the ice. That's our icebreaker. We do a doodle to kind of get everybody thinking about ideas when we first start. And then for the people who have more experience with drawing or trying to find a starting point to go from there, then we have some more intricate demos like the fabric painting, because we are painting on burlap, and burlap is a little different fabric than say your canvas because it has holes in it, and it's also great for when we're embroidering because the holes are already there. So there was a method to the madness in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, for the rest of the hour, play our demos and check back in as we have people leaving comments and kind of giving information again where to find out more about Project S.M.A.R.T Studios Making Art and Reproduction Textiles, and giving information how to go to the project and activity calendar page at the Seed to Fiber Art Room to access more information. Hello. I know this sounds repetitive, but we're getting everyone kind of up to speed, and sometimes repetition can be a blessing when you're just starting and trying to figure out how to get started and where to get started. So today, usually we have guests in our studio for the second hour, um, but we have a Earth Week program, so we have been working with other organizations and initiatives to tell a little bit about Project S.M.A.R.T and how we use materials to um, make our projects, create art, and reproduce some of the textiles we admire and are inspired by. So we have a YouTube channel, which we're live streaming to now. Usually we'll live stream to Facebook as well. Um, but what we're doing is we're kind of testing out a few ways that we can reach people virtually, and it's beneficial and it's helpful for different people in different time zones, and for after school programming, as well as maybe some teachers that have an in-school project that they want some of their students to work on. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible and include as many resources as we can during the process. So what I've been doing is kind of talking about where we have started, which is with fabric collage, um, how we picked our subject, which is the endangered species and our favorite animals, and how we were inspired by a specific applique, which is the Abame applique, which is an applique from the Abami people in Africa. And what they do is they use animals to tell a story about their fawns, which are their kings. So the kids at the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club, as well as everyone that's been participating with us, are using animals to kind of showcase stories um, that they would like those animals to represent, and they're decorating them with beads, and they're using embroidery and needle stitch to put together these pieces. And these pieces can be seen as art pieces, or they can be seen as textile pieces, depending on the materials that they've used. Some of the materials we've used are mixed media paper, which is what we did the fabric collages with. Um, this is actually just a trace of a picture that I took of a rhinoceros, because I picked an endangered animal, which is the white rhino. And the story that I told with this is that I thought that maybe if this rhino could camouflage themselves, maybe it would have a better chance of existing in its habitat. So the kids kind of caught on with that also, and they've got quite a few different unique stories. And if you missed the first hour of the live stream, you can go back and catch some of how they came up with their specific animals and what they named them, and what the story tells, what the animal has as far as if it has a symbol, if it's a specific color that represents something. And then moving forward, we're working towards the Abame applique, which is kind of somehow compared to a kind of folky style of animal art, because what they do is they'll take an animal and they don't draw it to full form. They kind of create a fantasy version of an animal, and then they tell the story about it. So when you search Abame applique, you'll find these really different looking animals. Some of them are two animals put together. Some of them are an animal that you can identify, but it just looks a little bit different. And they're usually embroidered. Today, what they do is they digital print. So you may see Abame style animals digitally printed, which is kind of the contemporary version. But here is something kind of, this is what I'm working on. and each kid has an individual project that they're working on. So I'm going to go back to the demos. I'm going to be going back and forth between the demos and the little doodle exercise, and then be giving information. So if you have any questions, you can email me, and I'm checking my emails as we live stream at mstar, that's M-S-T-A-R, arts, A-R-T-S, creative, C-R-E-A-T-I-V-E, at gmail.com. No. Here we go for another round of demos. Okay, so we're also going to pick up with the beading part. So one of the elements that we added into this embroidery process was beads. The kids have gone through and added some beads, and so have I, just, just as a kind of hint to where we're going to finish embroidering. And so from step 3, we have kind of created steps up to this point, and we're pretty much completed with 1, 2, and 3, where we've picked our subject, we've created our textile piece, and then we've also created the art that goes with it. And now we're adding in fabric painting. We're finishing up fabric painting. Most people are used to painting on a canvas, cotton canvas, but with burlap, it has holes in it. So there is kind of a overlayer process that you need to use when you're painting on the burlap, that you might have to use an acrylic paint. I know that if you're catching the live stream the second hour and you caught the first hour, some of the kids created their initial piece with watercolor, and they used mixed media paper, which we talked about a little bit earlier this second hour. But if you're going to paint directly on the burlap fabric, then the best paint we decided was the acrylic paint, to use that acrylic paint. So we're going to see where this video, this demo takes us. So what we're going to be doing is catching up from March 10th to today, and our final project is going to be in May, which I will create another short demo for and include the dates. If you are watching the demos, the dates are in a little brief excerpt of each day that we've had a Project S.M.A.R.T virtual live stream open studio. So what I'm going to do is just in sequence, so you kind of get an idea of how we warm up with a doodle. We've talked about the project that we're working on, and then we get into the demos, and then we focus on a specific step, which the final demo, which is cut in half, but you can find it in this, in the first part of the last demo, is that we're focusing on step 3, which is working on the surface area, including what type of paint, if you're using burlap, which acrylic seems to be the best. And if anyone has any questions, like I said, we'll leave comments open for the last 15 minutes, and then we'll be wrapping up at the end of the hour. Okay, so our demo that we've been focusing on in this live stream is the fabric painting. Our final live stream will be more on the embroidery technique. So I have been playing the demos for fabric painting and to get people that are just joining us in on kind of like icebreaker with our little doodles, and then focusing more on the fabric painting, picking your subject, which is either an endangered species or your favorite animal, and then learning more about the Abame style applique. Okay, so one more step that I'm going to add in. This is just for anyone that's getting started that maybe is not going to be able to have enough time, or they don't feel they have enough time to do the entire art process using the fabric collage. Your other option is to create your template for your animal. And what you're going to do is you can place a piece of solid fabric and cut it out and use applique iron-on paper. So if you don't have time to fabric collage, or if you don't have time to fabric paint, and you just kind of want to step in and get a quick jump on what we're going to be doing to complete the project in May, you still want to embroider and you still want to add the beads. A quick note is to use the, see, I got to turn this the right way. There we go. A quick note is to use the iron-on applique paper. So if you don't have time to fabric collage, or if you don't have time to fabric paint, we'll do a quick demo on how to use applique paper. The only thing with this is you have to kind of work backwards. You know that when you put it on one side, it's going to kind of switch, so that you have an idea of, you know, how to use the applique paper, understand that you're kind of working backwards. And we kind of talked about this in the first hour because it was the same idea and concept as when you're needle stitching, stitching from behind and stitching from the front, being if you're working with beads, or if you are trying to get a specific look for your stitch, sometimes the front and the back, I'm not going to say sometimes, I'm going to say all the time, being able to know which side of the fabric that you're using, the surface area, is very important. So again, that is something new that I just added in for people that kind of scroll through everything real fast and they just want to see what's going on the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes of what we're doing, because this is an open studio. So if you imagine yourself walking into a studio and you're looking around to see what everybody else is doing and you want to start, but you kind of got to catch up because the studio is wrapping up in the next 30 days, then what your option is to use the applique paper instead of fabric collaging or fabric painting. Now, you might have the time to fabric paint and you might have the time to fabric collage, which you can layer and add it in as you choose. But if you're just starting and you kind of want to just jump in and kind of get where we're at, you have the option of creating your own template, your own animal template, cutting it out, putting it on a piece of fabric, by using the applique iron-on sheet. So you're going to put your template on the applique iron-on sheet, iron it, and then you're going to iron it onto another piece of fabric. So you're layering fabric on fabric. So it's going to look like this. So what I'm going to do again is just go through our warm-up doodle. If you just caught the last end, you didn't see our warm-up doodle. And I'm going to include the fabric painting demo if you're trying to figure out what I'm talking about and you just caught the last few minutes of the live stream and you want to try the fabric painting, you have a demo to go to. And then focusing on our step 3, which is the surface area, adding the paint to the fabric. If you're just putting your ear to this, we're using acrylic paint on the burlap because burlap is a woven material. So when you paint over it, you can't use something like a watercolor because it will show the holes. And if you caught the first hour of our live stream with the Frank Callens Boys and Girls Club, they worked with the mixed media paper, which is what this template I use. This is on mixed media paper, and this is the fabric collage. And kind of to bring you into what I was just talking about with the iron-on applique paper, is that if you don't have time to create your fabric collage on mixed media paper or paint it on the burlap, then you have this other option, and we'll have a demo for that. But if you have caught the entire live stream and you had to take a break and you're just finishing up and getting back with us, I'm just going to go over again our icebreaker doodle, the fabric painting part, and focusing on the surface area. And our next live stream is going to be May 22nd, I believe. That's a Saturday. We're going to have 2 that week, one on Wednesday and one on Saturday. The 22nd is going to be our last activity. So you have between now and then to thumb through our live streams, kind of catch up on what we've been doing on YouTube, and then to email me if you have any questions or connect with us through the Seed to Fiber art room. Okay, so we are wrapping up for today. Thank you for everyone working through our technical difficulties, and we will see you in May. And if you have any questions, just strum through some of the live streams, or you can contact me at mstarartscreative@gmail.com, and I'm Camille Holbert. Thank you.